Welcome to today's explainer. Look, we've all felt that dreaded pain, right? You buy a shiny new smartphone, it works absolutely perfectly for a couple years, and then nothing. The software updates just abruptly stop, your battery degrades, your favorite apps start acting all glitchy, and your perfectly good hardware is suddenly rendered completely obsolete by a lack of software support. It is incredibly frustrating. But what if I told you the era of forced premature upgrades is coming to a grinding halt? Today, we're breaking down the 5 top-tier Android phones that are literally rewriting the rules of device longevity. Okay, let's just dive right into this. 2033. I want you to just let that year sink in for a second. We are talking about a massive paradigm shift in the mobile industry here. Right now, in 2026, buying a phone usually meant you were lucky if it lasted 3, maybe 4 years. But suddenly, if you pick the right device today, you are absolutely guaranteed to continue receiving major software and security updates all the way into the year 2033. It completely changes how we should be valuing and buying our tech. You know, for the longest time, Android had a pretty terrible reputation for long-term support, especially when you compared it to Apple. I mean, Apple never really published strict guarantees, but iPhones have routinely lasted 5 to 6 years. To put that into perspective, the 2019 iPhone 11 series is getting iOS 27 in mid-September of 2026. That's around its 7th birthday. But Android has finally woken up. Led initially by Google and Samsung, the new industry standard for top Android devices is a rock-solid, guaranteed 7 years of support. Android isn't just matching Apple's legendary longevity anymore. In many cases, with strict written guarantees, it's actually beating it. So which phones actually give you this massive lifespan? Let's start with archetype number 1, the Eco Warrior, Fairphone Gen 6. What's really fascinating about this European smartphone is that it pushes the envelope even further than the mainstream giants. The Fairphone Gen 6, which launched in the summer of 2025, guarantees 7 years of Android updates, but they top it off with an insane 8 years of security updates. But, well, software is only half the battle, right? If your battery dies in year 4, software doesn't help you at all. That's exactly why Fairphone's modular design is so genius. Need a new screen? Swap it yourself. Battery degraded? Just pop in a new 4,415 mAh removable battery. It's like a giant puzzle. It's built from the ground up to physically survive those 8 years. But okay, here comes the real talk. There is a catch. To get a phone to last a full decade, the brain of the phone needs to be able to keep up. And the Fairphone Gen 6 relies on a mid-range Snapdragon 7S Gen 3 chip. With single and multi-core Geekbench scores hovering around 1149 and 3313 respectively, you really have to ask yourself if this processor won't start feeling seriously sluggish by, say, 2030. Plus, if you're in Europe, it starts at a reasonable €599. But for US buyers, you're going to have to deal with import hassles via Marina, which slaps a really steep $899 price tag on a phone that definitely does not offer a flagship processing experience. So if you want longevity without draining your bank account or dealing with imports, we need to look at our next archetype. Number 2, the Budget King Google Pixel 10a. The crucial takeaway with the Pixel 10a is the sheer, undeniable value. Released just recently in March 2026 with Android 16 preloaded, this phone starts at just $499. And for under $500, Google is giving you 7 years of OS and security updates. That means this budget device will theoretically be running Android 23 in the year 2033. Plus, you get a really solid 5,100 mAh battery and the massive advantage of being first in line for those new Android updates every single year. But again, we gotta talk about compromises here. Notice the massive gap in processing power. The Pixel 10a's Tensor G4 chip scores around 4,600 on the multi-core test, while a premium flagship like the Galaxy S26 Ultra absolutely doubles that with a massive 11,000. So why does this matter for longevity? It's all because of AI. The Pixel 10a only has 8 GB of RAM and this older Tensor G4 processor. That creates a strict hardware bottleneck, meaning it's totally unsuitable for the new Gemini intelligence AI platform coming in Android 17. So while the software will update for 7 years, it won't actually be able to run the most advanced future features. So what if you want a phone that has the software guarantee and the raw hardware muscle to actually feel fast 7 years from now? That brings us to number 3, the premium powerhouses, Motorola and Samsung. Let's see how these heavyweights build the ultimate long-term setup. Just look at these absolute monster specs. Both of these phones guarantee support until early 2033. On one side, we have Motorola's new ultra-premium franchise, the Motorola Signature. It packs a Snapdragon 8 Gen 5, A crazy 165 Hz display hitting 6,200 nits of peak brightness, a 5,200 milliamp hour battery, and military-grade durability, all packed into a ridiculously thin 6.99mm frame for €999. Then on the other side, we've got the $1,299 Galaxy S26 Ultra. It flexes the customized Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5, a built-in stylus, and an incredible new privacy display protected by Corning Gorilla Armor 2 and backed by a 5,000 milliamp hour battery. These phones have the elite processors and durability genuinely suited for the real long haul. And here is exactly why that premium hardware matters so much. As we just saw with the Pixel 10a, AI is incredibly demanding, but these premium flagships come packing 12 to 16 gigabytes of RAM. That right there is the crucial key. That massive memory pool means they are fully future-proof to run advanced AI platforms like Google's Gemini Intelligence, which is rolling out to select devices with Android 17. If you want your phone to not just survive, but actively thrive with tomorrow's software, this is absolutely the hardware you need. But hey, what if you want all that premium power, 7 years of updates, and you want it the most cutting-edge form factor possible? Well, that's number 4. The foldable unicorn, Honor Magic V6. Launched in March 2026, this is arguably one of the most stunning Android foldables on the planet. Unfolded, it is an insanely thin 4.0 millimeters. I mean, that is practically paper thin. Yet it still manages to pack a massive 6,660 mAh silicon carbon battery and the exact same elite Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5 chip as the Galaxy S26 Ultra. You get 2 stunning screens, a 7.95-inch internal and a 6.52-inch cover, top-tier performance, and a 7-year software guarantee. But remember why I called it a unicorn earlier? It has a very steep $1,900 price tag, and US buyers will struggle to get their hands on it as it's primarily selling in regions like Malaysia and Europe. So we've covered an eco-friendly modular phone, an incredible budget Pixel, ultra-premium hardware monsters, and a cutting-edge foldable. How do you synthesize all this incredible tech data to actually choose your forever phone? Section 5. Choosing your forever phone. Honestly, you just need to follow 3 essential steps. Step 1. Check the long-term performance in RAM. 7 years of software updates mean literally nothing if a weak processor or 8 gigs of RAM locks you out of future AI features. Step 2. Ensure repairability. Let's be real, no battery naturally lasts 7 years. You need to know you can easily get a battery replacement down the line, which is exactly why devices like the Fairphone excel. And step 3, verify regional availability. Don't fall in love with a phone like the Honor Magic V6 or the Fairphone if it's going to cost you a fortune in import fees and offers 0 local customer support. The era of planned obsolescence in smartphones is actively fading away. The manufacturers are finally doing their part. Google, Samsung, Motorola, Honor, and Fairphone are basically handing you the keys to a device that will legitimately last until 2033. But it brings up one final provocative question for you to think about as we wrap up this explainer. The hardware and software are ready for the long haul, but in a world addicted to the shiny and new, will you actually have the discipline to keep your phone for 7 years? Just let that sink in. Thanks for learning with me today, and I'll catch you in the next one.